Have you ever given your all to someone, only to be met with indifference? Have you helped others until you were completely exhausted, only to feel used and taken for granted in the end? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many kind-hearted people find themselves trapped in this painful cycle. You say yes when you desperately want to say no. You lend a hand even when you have no energy left. You give and give until you are completely depleted. But instead of gratitude, you receive disrespect and exploitation. This isn't a sign of your weakness. It's a sign that your kindness lacks a strategy. Kindness without wisdom isn't a virtue. It's a dangerous trap that can lead to your own emotional destruction. Today, I want to share the story of a man named Thomas, who embodied this struggle and learned one of life's most vital lessons about the true nature of kindness. In a small, quiet village lived a man named Thomas, known far and wide as the kindest soul around. If anyone needed money, time, or a helping hand, Thomas was their first and only call. He took pride in his reputation, believing his generosity made him both valuable and safe. But beneath the surface of his good deeds, Thomas was wilting. He felt deeply drained, a constant exhaustion weighing on his body and spirit. Let me paint you a picture. His neighbor, Mr. Harrison, would frequently ask for help with repairs around his farm. Thomas would always oblige, spending hours fixing fences and patching roofs, even when his own work was piling up. Yet, he never received so much as a simple thank you, let alone an offer of help in return. Then there was his friend, Robert, who had a habit of borrowing money. Each time, Robert promised to pay it back, but the debt just grew. When Thomas gently brought it up, Robert would laugh it off, saying, "Come on, we're friends. Friends don't keep score." Thomas felt trapped. His kindness had become a cage. The final straw came during a village meeting. The community had decided to build a new well, a project requiring immense effort. Without any discussion, everyone turned to Thomas, simply assuming he would handle the bulk of the labor. In that moment, it became painfully clear. He wasn't seen as a person anymore. He was a resource to be consumed. The respect he thought he had earned was just an illusion. He was taken for granted, and his boundless generosity had become his prison. One afternoon, broken and defeated, Thomas sat by the river, the weight of the world on his shoulders. An old merchant, passing through the village, saw his despair and sat beside him. The merchant didn't need an explanation. He saw the story written all over Thomas's face. "I see a good man who has allowed his own goodness to destroy him," the merchant said softly. He continued, "Kindness without wisdom is not kindness at all. It is self-destruction. Being good doesn't mean you must say yes to every request. True kindness is strategic. It requires you to choose who is worthy of your energy. You must protect your own well. If you give water to everyone who asks, you will soon have nothing left for yourself, or for those who truly need it. When you never say no, your yes loses all its value." The merchant's words struck Thomas like lightning. For the first time, he understood. His approach to kindness wasn't just hurting him. It was fundamentally flawed. He needed to change, not for others, but for himself. The very next day, Mr. Harrison came knocking. "Thomas, my fence is broken again. I need you to fix it." For the first time in his life, Thomas took a deep breath and said, "No." Mr. Harrison was stunned, then angry, but Thomas stood his ground. "I need to rest," he said calmly. "I have helped you many times, but my help has never been appreciated or returned." He felt a surge of fear, but also an incredible sense of liberation. A few days later, Robert appeared, asking for another loan. Again, Thomas refused. "Lending you more money when you haven't repaid the old debt isn't helping you, Robert. It's hurting me." Robert stormed off, accusing Thomas of changing, of becoming selfish. But Thomas knew this change was not just necessary, it was his salvation. At the next village meeting, when the well was discussed, Thomas stood up. He announced that he would still help his community, but his kindness would now come with a condition: respect. He would give his time and effort only where it was valued and reciprocated. The villagers were shocked. Some grumbled, but Thomas was resolute. He finally understood that kindness was not weakness. True kindness was a form of strength, a form of wisdom. Over time, something remarkable happened. The villagers began to treat Thomas differently. Those who had once exploited his generosity now approached him with respect. They started to thank him. Sometimes, they even offered to help him with his own chores. The dynamic had completely shifted. One day, a young farmer named Daniel came to him. He respectfully asked if Thomas could help him for a day, offering fair payment and promising to help Thomas with his harvest in return. This was the kind of reciprocal, respectful relationship Thomas had been missing. For the first time in years, he felt not just useful, but truly valued. When the old merchant passed through the village again, he saw a transformed man. Thomas was no longer hunched over with exhaustion, but stood tall, with a light in his eyes. Reflecting on his journey, Thomas realized that real goodness isn't about giving everything you have to everyone. It's about strategic kindness, helping the right people, at the right time, and in the right way. If Thomas's story resonates with you, I want you to hear this loud and clear. Your kindness is not a weakness, but kindness without boundaries is self-destructive. Being a good person does not require you to be a doormat. It does not mean sacrificing your own peace for people who do not value your sacrifice. Your kindness must be strategic. It must protect your energy. It must choose wisely where to invest your heart. You do not need to feel guilty for setting boundaries, for saying no, or for putting your own well-being first. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's wise. Remember, one person who truly respects and values your kindness is worth more than 100 who simply take it for granted. So be kind, yes, but be strategically kind. That is where your true power lies. Thank you for watching. If this story helped you, please consider liking and subscribing for more content on living a stronger, wiser life.